You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. Welcoming you to the lap of the extra mile for today, May the 4th, be with you, 2023. And I don't even know where to begin on this weekend of racing, but to help me try to make some sort of sense of it, of course, is my co-host, Christopher Lehman.
Well, Daryl, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Still trying to figure out what we saw this weekend everywhere. It just felt like every race had their moment that just made you say WTF for multitude of reasons. And that's probably going to be the theme of the show today, as we'll say the on-track product outside of a few races wasn't that great. I'm going to be completely audience.
The off-track drama was completely out of this world this week too. My goodness.
Oh yeah, the off-track drama just absolutely trumped the on-track drama. So we're going to get through that and get to what happened off the tracks. We got a lot of conversations to get to. I think we'll start with the non-problematic series of this weekend, which was IndyCar. So we can dust that off quickly. Roman Grosjean led the first 31 laps of the race at Barber Motorsports Park. Ended up coming up short, though, after Stingray Rob's DNF brought out a caution. Final pit stops happened, lap 63-64. McLaughlin pitted early, got out in front of Grosjean. That set off a great battle between the principal combatants during the race at St. Petersburg, where Grosjean and McLaughlin swapped the lead, and everyone's favorite Australian, Scott McLaughlin, picks up the win in Barber. And Chris, that sets him up for a great momentum shifter going into the month of May.
Yeah, and I wish that I had seen it, because that's the one race this weekend where was actually good, right? Mm-hmm. But we ended up being a little busy. So I did not get the opportunity. I meant to actually go back and watch it this week, or on lunch or something at work. But, as we were kind of talking about in the pre-show, this week, I don't even know where it went, because it's Thursday, and my goodness, I can't give you one accomplishment I've had all week. But as far as the IndyCar, we're the third. No, this was round 4 for the year, right? So I'm going to look right now. Yeah, so this was the 4th race. So yeah, we're coming into the summer now, and so yeah, any bit of momentum you can carry right now, especially since we're I know it's a month away, but Indy's coming up May 28th. So any momentum that you can carry forward into the Indy 500 is a leg up on your competition. And right now, if you're going to get hot, Barber's probably where I want my streak to start.
Yeah. And we do know that the GMR Grand Prix in Indianapolis is the next race before the Indy 500. But let's be honest, we get to May. Which race do you think about? It's not Monaco. The road course.
Oh. I can see the disappointment in your face, Daryl.
Y'all can't see. Y'all have no idea the depths that I do not like Monaco, especially this. I'll get to it later. When we get to May, you think Indianapolis, you think the Indy 500. The GMR Grand Prix is a decent appetizer. We all want the main course, which is Indy cars jetting around 2.5 miles of what used to be bricks, now asphalt, making history in American open wheel racing is the Indy 500, which we're all excited about.
Yeah, and Michael actually just texted that he's going to be popping on here.
All right, cool.
So watch the queue.
Yeah, so we'll get Michael in here in a bit. Good to see him. He's obviously gone to part-time status, but we always enjoy having him on here. But IndyCar, it's funny. We look at all the series that have run this year, IndyCar has been the most problem or least problematic, excuse me, in terms of off the track nonsense. And like there was that one issue with that weird fan that was like mad that they have like a Catholic charity and a pre-race prayer.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Like that was weird.
That's how non-problematic IndyCar is. Is even when they have a controversy, you kind of just forget about it within a week or two.
Yeah. I mean, I totally didn't
Whereas
forget.
like NASCAR, I can give you probably the last 2 months worth of controversies, probably in sequential order too.
I don't think we've had a week without a controversy at this point.
No, but it's been a while since we've had this past week's worth, though.
Yeah, this was a lot. Like, even for NASCAR and Formula One, it was a lot. And we're going to get to those in a minute. I just want to go over the point standings with what happened there in IndyCar. WEC also had a minor controversy, which I'll get to when it comes to the tire warmers, because they don't have those anymore. And they raced at Spa. And Spa weather did Spa things. And it was not fun for anyone involved. Also, Ferrari did a Ferrari, which I'll get to in a minute. I just want to get you the results of the Children of Alabama Indy Grand Prix, which is about the only time I'll hear Alabama actually care about the children. Scott McLaughlin takes the win there. Roman Grosjean was second. It's either Roman or Romaine. I don't know how you say this man's name, apparently. He finished second. Will Power caps off your podium in third. Pedal Award, Alex Palou, Christian Lundgaard round out the top 6 of 27 racers that were in the race on Sunday. A big field of full-time cars now in IndyCar. And as we get to May and we start talking about having 33 cars in this race, which is the Indy 500, it's really going to take having more regular season cars, because the days of where you could build an Indy 500 Challenger in your shed, that died 40 years ago, and it's even worse now. Last article I saw on this issue is it costs about $1 million to do the Indy 500 alone. That is not a lot of money for a privateer team to just run that race. You have to be extremely dedicated and have a lot of money to put together that much money for a one-off effort that, to be honest, you're just there to finish. You don't really have a chance at winning unless something crazy happens. So if we're going to get back to 40 cars qualifying for the Indianapolis 500, we're going to need more regular season cars.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And with that being said, we can now welcome in Michael Ward, who has joined us. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hello.
And, hello. What I said at the beginning was that we had a lot of controversy this week in racing, like to the point that the off the track was kind of more talked about than the on the track at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of controversy, and especially in NASCAR and basically everywhere. It's a whole lot of craziness going on off the track, not on the track. If it was on the track, I think we'd be in a lot worse position than we are.
Yeah, and before we continue, I just want to ask you about the World Endurance Championship. Toyota did pick up the win there in the hypercar category. Did you get a chance to check out that race?
Yes, it was a very fun race.
Yep. So what did you think of the no tire warmers? Because they were blamed on at least one accident that took out one of the Ferraris. Ferrari, once again, had another Ferrari strategy day, although can't really blame it on them. They went on the hard tires, and they just could not get heat in them because, well, it was a spa weather type of weekend where it was cold and rainy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see the need for it. I feel like it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, let's change this thing to try to make the racing more interesting. and it really doesn't, and it costs teams some points and a car. So I don't know. I think I feel like it shouldn't have been a thing, but you can't correct me if I'm wrong.
I kind of also want them to reverse the tire warmers thing because it is a matter of safety with cars that are this quick and this sensitive. I could get it maybe at Le Mans when it's June and we know the temperatures are going to be in the 80s. At least you could do it there, but a race like Spa kind of shows you why the tire blankets are necessary because you had a track that just would not take heat at all. And it was raining. You're trying to put heat into the track. You're trying to put heat into the tires. You can't do it. And the drivers were just holding on for dear life for most of that race.
Yeah, can you imagine trying to take Poulant and cold tires? No, siree.
Nope. I mean, we saw already what happened there going into Eau Rouge with the Cadillac. Although that wasn't cold tires, that was just a little bit of aerodynamics lost, and away that car went into Radeon in a bunch of pieces. We can't. I don't like trying to spice up the show when it takes away from safety, especially now.
Yeah. Or when you just implement a dumb rule just for the sake of it. Let's add sprinklers to racetracks.
Yep. So the World Endurance Championship will be back on the track in June for our favorite race, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Cannot wait.
Yeah, even though I feel like Toyota's just going to dominate.
I don't think so.
Or who knows? They could just not finish.
I don't think so. I really think that the other hypercars are going to be in the fight. They were with Toyota on pace. At least Ferrari was until they made their little strategy move. But this wasn't a walk away this time. They're getting closer. And people got to remember why it's taking so long for them to get close. Toyota had a 2-year head start on everybody.
Basically.
So there's not a lot you can do about that. Team WRT won in LMP2, and GTM Richard Mille AF Corse, took the win, and a shout out to Lilou Wadeau, that is her name, of France, first woman to win in the WEC. So congratulations to her.
Big W right there.
Yep. All right, boys, let's go ahead and get into it. Should we start with the Formula One debacle, or should we start with the NASCAR debacle? Because I kind of want to start with the
Formula One.
Yeah, let's start with that debacle. Here's how the race went. There were 13 overtakes.
Yeah, that's
total.
Fun. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Max Verstappen took the win. These new rules that were supposed...
Did it? We watched different races, apparently.
Oh, wait, no, not Max Verstappen. I'm sorry. Checo won the race this time. I'm sorry. But 13 overtakes for an entire race.
With this was a one-way strip for a main straight, by the way.
Yeah. Which they shortened the DRS for 100 meters. God knows why they made that decision. With cars that were supposed to be better at passing.
Well,
they aren't.
I don't know if you guys saw today, but they also shortened the DRS zones at Miami.
Why?
I think they shortened both of them.
You cannot pass down that back street. Ask Leclerc.
You couldn't pass at that track last year.
Yeah.
Now he made the DRS shorter?
Yes.
Oh, God. The FIA is run by idiots, I swear.
Oh, we're going to get into that. But first, we got to beat them up on this rules package. People keep trying to blame Mercedes for this when they made the change to lift the cars up due to the porpoising. Yeah, here's the thing about that. That rule was taken away quietly before this year even started. So that rule is not in effect. It really didn't hamper the overtaking last year because the overtaking was only marginally better last year compared to 2021. Now it's worse. And apparently Checo and Max said that it could get even worse this year. That means we could probably see a race other than Monaco where we don't have a single overtake on track that's not pit stop aided.
So I just looked it up. So we've got so the DRS zones at Miami. Zone 1 shortened by 75 meters.
Oh,
where is zone 1?
Zone 1 is I'm trying to find the start.
That's the mid straight, right? The second one.
Yes.
The second long straight, yeah.
Oh, so that's straight away on the back stretch.
Yeah. Not the one in the Baku chicane that I like to call it. The other one.
The East Campus. No, not
Yeah.
East Campus. I don't think there's DRS back there.
There's
so
one
it's
past the Baku chicane, and then there's another one.
It's right after turn 10.
Oh, okay, that one.
Okay, yeah, that is the East Campus.
Which 9 and 10 are
zone.
really. It's like 9 and 10 aren't even really turns, in my opinion.
Those aren't corners. So the East Campus DRS zone is shorter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so and then they also shortened zone 2 by 75 meters, which is the really long stretch.
Yeah, that's the one off turn 16 and over the highway bridge. Under the highway bridge, sorry, that goes down to turn 17. And you couldn't pass there to begin with.
Zone 3 did not change.
Which is on the front stretch, which...
Yeah.
Okay.
That was short anyway.
You don't have enough run to get anything hot going there.
No.
You really don't.
You could give them DRS coming off the corner and they wouldn't do anything. That's a real short straight.
Yeah,
so
like if you don't have enough straight line speed to even get near him, good luck. Because if you were watching, I know you guys remember last year where Leclerc was trying to get Verstappen and he just couldn't because there wasn't enough straight line speed.
Leclerc, I don't know if it was the lack of straight line speed on the Ferrari or the aerodynamics that was plaguing him.
He got close, but he couldn't. There was just not enough, straight for him to do it. So
yeah, I really start to question: is the FIA watching the same race as we are? I really do, because if I'm going into this race, which is already having problems selling tickets, by the way, because people are looking at the ticket prices and saying absolutely not. You come into this race where we didn't have that much overtaking to begin with, and you say, hey, we're going to shorten the zones. Why would you do that?
Well, because Baku was so interesting. How could you see the Baku race and say that wasn't a good product?
I mean, Baku has been interesting before they implemented these rule changes. Now that they implemented these rule changes, it's no longer fun.
I was just disappointed I didn't realize the race started at 7 and I missed the most interesting part.
The start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I missed it too because we were going to the baseball game that day.
You know what's crazy? The sprint race was more interesting than the main race.
Oh my God. Nope. F1's lost their minds. So, you know how we always get to the U.S. Grand Prix rounds and we do the ticket prices?
Yeah.
Miami has fallen and bumped their head.
Oversaturation.
Do you want to know how much the tickets are?
I've heard they cut them like
turn 1.
I've heard they cut them like 60%.
Do you want to hear this price? This is for 2 tickets.
Yeah, let's go.
Probably for 2 tickets, I'm going to guess 400.
You are nowhere in the ballpark.
I'm guessing they're in the thousands.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Formula One. The ticket prices are always ridiculous.
Yeah, but I had been reading that they cannot sell these things and they're basically giving them away.
Yeah, because it's $2,700 for these two seats I'm looking at.
Yeah, $2,700.
This is sitting in the entrance of turn 1. You don't even have a good view of the start-finish line.
And that's not including FP1 through qualifying, right?
I have no idea. Let me add this to the card and see what it says.
Because, yeah, if I'm paying $2,000, I at least want FP1 through qualifying.
I'm going to try to set this up. Let me go back for a minute.
Also, please do not accidentally spend $2,000.
I'm not. Okay, so the seats at the top of the grandstands are $1,800.
No.
You are on so many drugs. So we're going to add this to cart. Keep saying I can't leave a single seat available. We'll figure this out later. I'll try to figure this out while we're talking, but
yeah, unless I'm getting FP1 through 3 and Q1 through 3, yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you guys go through the one big incident that has got everybody mad right now?
The sprint race incident, right?
No, the one at the end of the Grand Prix.
Oh, Ocon. So, I'll try my best to summarize this. So at the end of the race, Ocon was coming into the pits because cool down lap, and there were a bunch of photographers or media people, Chris.
Yes.
In the pit road.
I think the marshals were actually pulling out the barricades.
The barricades were out.
And there were just a bunch of people in pit road, and Ocon was coming in full of steam, and yeah, it could have been a really big disaster.
So, I'm really sorry, but you guys know how Brad Pitt is going to be running on track.
Oh, we'll get to that nonsense.
If you just type in Brad Pitt and you go to Twitter, the memes that are already out are so ridiculous.
I'm sure.
And I want to get to those in a minute, but can we talk about how we almost killed photographers on Sunday?
Yeah, those guys should not have been there.
Never mind the fact that the hard tires went nearly the entire length of the event, but is a whole nother story. Why, when an active race is still going on, is anyone not in a fire suit allowed in pit lane to do anything? No one that is involved, unless you were involved in the actual race, or you're one of the few pit lane photographers with the FIA, nobody should be down there on the pit road until the race is over. And to see Ocon coming through the pit lane, and there's a dozen photographers between him and the exit of that barricade, and you saw them trying to make a juke out the way to move away from that car.
Yeah.
It would have taken one person's foot getting caught by the wing.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have had a disaster of epic proportions on your hands. And I do not understand for the life of me, when we killed Jules Bianchi not that long ago, does this sport still continue to not take safety seriously? This is the second time this year that we've had issues with people being on track where they shouldn't be. The first incident was at the Australian Grand Prix when fans got on the track as the race was still finishing. The amount of incidents that should happen like this during the year is zero. The FIA, They complain every week about Lewis Hamilton's frickin' nose stud. But y'all can't watch the people literally on the track that are a bit squishy when a Formula One car comes by? Get your head on straight. Because when somebody gets killed because of your incompetence, nobody's going to care about a gosh darn nose stud.
Yeah, they need to do a lot better job, with the safety and security around the racetrack. There's absolutely no reason why anyone should be on either pit road or on track when there are still cars on track.
Yep.
Now, even the safety car even if there's safety cars on track, there shouldn't be people on there.
No.
Yeah.
So,
I do want to play devil's advocate for a second, though.
Mm-hmm.
So there is, obviously this was the last lap, and there is a lot that needs to happen in a very short amount of time for all of the post-race celebration. And it's kind of just like a pit stop where literally every second counts. So this is it's a learning opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of have 2 to 3 different avenues to go down. You could close pit road with 2 laps to go, which is kind of similar to what NASCAR does. And I think kind of makes sense. It gives the marshals and the stewards the time they need to prepare pit road for everybody. You can say that until that checkered flag flies, the marshals don't do anything. But then you kind of miss out. The photographers don't get in position, and you kind of miss out on some stuff. So I don't really know the best way to go. And then my last, I just got one more solution, Michael, and that would just be to not make a tire that will last the whole race.
That would help us the most.
Yeah, that would definitely help us the most.
Like, the tires should not be lasting this long. And we've been complaining about this for Pirelli the last few years, and they just keep making the tires harder.
Yeah. The fact that they're like, the FIA got roasted, Formula One got roasted over putting up that Ocon went the 56 laps or whatever on one set of tires, and everybody's like, you realize that's not a good thing, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes you just wonder, like, what on earth is going through someone's head when they post that stuff?
I don't know, man.
I have no idea. They're trying to make it seem like it's a good thing, but it's not. Like,
now, back in like 2011, when Perez was able to go like half the race on Pirelli hards, that was interesting. That took some skill, but these tires, no.
The problem is that means that the tires, if they're that hard and lasting, that means they're not putting any rubber down on the track, which means there's no grip being put on the track.
Yeah, which means if there's a long stint and we're at somewhere like Spa, or if we ever go back to Malaysia and there's a sudden downpour, yeah, good luck.
The big issue I'm having is that instead of that rubber going into the track and creating grip, which actually help the cars go faster and actually be able to make passes, hopefully, the rubber's just graining off. And you saw that in NASCAR when Eric Jones was at Dover and got loose, and you saw all the black dust coming off the tire. That's not supposed to happen. If the tire is that hard that it's graining instead of putting rubber into the track, that means the track isn't getting rubbered up to actually race, which probably explains a lot of our overtaking issues, because they're not getting the grip needed to go faster to get those overtakes.
So let me ask you two a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I probably asked you guys this before on the show, but what would you guys do in order to promote overtaking?
Make the tires softer.
Yeah.
Tire softer.
Either make the tires softer or mandate a second pit stop.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to say reintroduce refueling, but I know
that's not going to work because there was actually less refueling. No, there was less passing during refueling.
Yeah.
And then someone would rip the hose out and cause a fire on pit lane.
Wasn't that a Ferrari?
Yep.
Well, the first time it was Singapore, right?
Yeah. Actually, before that, it was Jos Verstappen. His singular contribution to Formula One.
Yeah, I remember that.
What was his singular?
Lighting himself on fire.
I figured that we were going to say his singular contribution with his son, but
yeah, he doesn't get credit for that.
No, he doesn't get credit.
Especially how we know how he raised his son. He definitely doesn't get credit for that. Which is a whole nother story. But Formula One's in a bad place overtaking wise.
Yeah, I think back to that Singapore night and I'm like, if that pit stop never would have happened, man, Massa would have won the Singapore Grand Prix.
Yeah. Right now there's a whole lawsuit going on about the Singapore Grand Prix.
I know, but it's just like I think back to that night and I just realized, like, man, he could have won the championship that night.
Yeah, he's actually suing because of that, because he thinks the FIA actually knew about it and didn't do anything about it because, of course, Bernie Ecclestone running his big fat mouth. Dumb.
I don't think anything's going to happen, but, if it does, that's going to be a crazy story.
Yeah. So.
That's one of those, it's tough, right? Because if he was conspired against, then it kind of, I mean, especially like Daryl is a Lewis fan, like, feeling like you got conspired against, that's a rough feeling.
Yeah. I mean, my problem is if they do decide to change that, now it reopens the nonsense with Abu Dhabi 2021.
Yeah.
That whole can of worms gets reopened and fans are going to demand at that point that Mercedes sue to get that championship overturned.
Well, the problem is that you're going to have to wait for somebody to run their mouth and say the wrong thing before anything happens. 2021 is settled, just like the Massa one was settled, right?
Yeah.
Until somebody opened their mouth.
Yep.
So maybe in the next 10 years, somebody is going to say the wrong thing and it's going to reopen. But for right now, I think it's settled until somebody says something.
Yeah.
And who knows? Jos Verstappen might get mad and run his mouth. And who knows what happens after that.
I mean, if he does, he's got no one else to blame but himself.
Yeah. So
Really?
Formula One moves on to Miami this week. Are we expecting any sort of cleanup in the racing that we saw? I guess we kind of already answered that question. I think we all believe it's going to be a worse race.
I don't think it'll be better. I don't really think it'll be good. They shortened the DRS, and DRS is like the only way we can pass. So it's just like I don't know. I think this race might be American Monaco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how we felt last year. Last year we said the same thing.
Last year was somewhat better.
Was it?
The racing was.
I mean, you can't say that it was better because it hasn't happened yet, but
I mean,
on paper it's better.
Last year,
I don't know. We
some close racing.
The weather's not looking great for this weekend. I mean, if it gets wet, who knows what happens?
I mean, if it gets wet, then there's definitely not going to be any overtaking.
I mean, if it was 90s Formula One, I'd say, yeah, bring on the rain. But now they're getting like NASCAR when it comes to the rain, where they won't run in it. So I don't even know if that's going to change anything.
We have a wet tire, folks, so we don't want to use it.
Don't get me.
Maybe what Formula One needs is plexiglass around the halo. Keep the drivers dry.
Yeah. Yeah, 47% chance of rain on Sunday for the Formula One Grand Prix, which it being at Florida, multiply that.
80%.
Yeah,
I
double that.
have a better idea, guys.
What?
This idea we can't fail. You want to know what it is?
What?
How about we research the fucking wet tire?
Yeah, they won't test the wet tire and wonder why it doesn't work. Maybe you should test the tire, Pirelli.
Pirelli says that the teams won't do it. They try to get the teams to do it.
You know what you do? You know what you do?
You make them do it.
You have a test car. Use it.
You call in the scabs.
I remember Pirelli has a test car. They have a legit test car. Use it.
Or when you when you had testing in a place with not questionable human rights abuses or human rights records, you wet the track down, put the wet tires on, and let them go out there and run them. You mandate a wet tire session.
Or just have teams come out and say, hey, we're trying to test out the wet tire. And, have them come out and see what it's all about.
Yep. I don't know. Formula One is frustrating. And speaking of frustrating...
Which is why everyone should watch the WEC instead.
Yeah. We got to talk about Ross now.
No, we got to talk about Brad Pitt.
Oh, right. Brad first, then Ross. So
I sent you guys a whole bunch of memes in the
I saw
message.
The first one was, I don't know who that was. It was really sliding across in 2014. It was Brad Pitt on the F1 parade lap. It was like 2011. Oh, it's one of the Force Indias that goes sliding into the field in 2011 at Monza. No, that's not a Force India. I think that's an HRT before they shut down. They go sliding in there.
Man, remember HRT?
I do. To
Hispania racing team.
The other one, I think this is Leclerc that got loose during Abu Dhabi. I don't know which year this was. He went like straight on after the car had a snap understeer moment.
Yeah.
I still don't know how he saved that thing, but Brad Pitt is going to actually drive. Who was that? Because
that was 21, wasn't it? That Leclerc one.
Hold on, I'm going to
which race?
Yeah, it's Leclerc. I think it's 2021.
I think it's 21.
Which racetrack is it?
It's Abu Dhabi.
That was
Max I think that's Max coming out of pit road, and then
it's definitely 33. Oh, are you looking, Michael?
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, that's 21.
Okay.
These videos, these things are so funny.
A good way to tell is by the mission win now stripe on the fuselage.
I remember that. Oh gosh, the Mark. Here's one with the Mark Webber Lotus crash. Brad Pitt on lap 2 of the British Grand Prix after colliding with George Russell. Brad Pitt seeing Max lap him for the 12th time. It's that meme. I don't know what this is from.
Umbrella Academy.
Yeah. It's the Umbrella Academy meme. So
where the kid is driving the car.
Yeah. So the reason these memes are going on is because Brad Pitt is apparently going to drive a 11th team car in the British Grand Prix to conduct filming for the Formula One movie he's making. I have no idea the logistics of this. It hasn't been explained how this is going to work.
So they're going to be on track during the race?
They're going to be on track Days of Thunder NASCAR style.
So wait, though. So Brad Pitt is driving at Silverstone, and there will be an 11th team to film on track for the rest of the season. We're getting Brad Pitt in the car for one race, but the rest of the season after that, there will be another car on track.
I have questions.
I have a lot of questions.
So does Colton Herta.
I saw that.
So does Andretti.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Where's
question is,
Audi?
my question is, who is
Oh, did
preparing
you guys hear about
this
Audi?
car?
What about Audi?
They're pulling out of almost every major racing league now.
Oh yeah, they're shutting down their customer program to focus on Formula One. I'm sad
which
about
I think
that.
is BS. Which I think is BS. But yeah,
Yeah, but I don't.
Shows you the popularity. F1.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But
it's not gonna go well.
I don't understand the logistics of this.
I don't understand.
So there's going to be a
Pitt
whole
gets
new
the race,
Formula
but
One
Colton
team
Herta
just
doesn't.
trolling.
That's
in
what
the
I
back.
want to know. How does Brad Pitt get a super license?
Yeah, he's a movie star. Like, how?
How are they?
Basically, what we just told is that Brad Pitt is qualified to drive a Formula One car. Colton Herta is not.
And I want to know why that's a thing.
Well, if you picked him in Nearest to Win last year, you'd know why. Maybe he isn't cut out for Formula One.
So that's just a middle finger to every other GP2 driver, every other WEC driver, every other
supercars,
kid coming
NASCAR,
NASCAR, IndyCar, all those other drivers. That's just one big middle finger to all those guys. Hey, you want to join Formula One? Become a movie star first.
Yeah. I mean, like Chase Elliott's only got like 30 points. He couldn't get in.
If he wins the championship this year, he'd get in.
Yeah,
because he'd have Chase Elliott in a Formula One car.
It would never happen, but I think it was either Chase or Kyle. Either Chase, Kyle, or Joey had the most points. Mm-hmm. I think they were all kind of right up there in the high 20s, low 30s.
I just don't understand how this is going to go on and not potentially affect the race, because and the car is being prepared by Mercedes apparently, but my issue is if that car has an issue and stops on track, then what?
It affects the race. I wonder if they had to get a sign off from all the teams.
My issue is how long is this car going to be on the track?
Is it going to be like Days of Thunder where it goes out for the first X amount of laps, or is selective about what ones they do? Or yeah,
I'm hoping it's like that, because I think in Days of Thunder they only ran like the first 20, 30 laps of the race and they pulled them in.
Yeah, and then they send them back out a little bit later or something. But yeah, Days of Thunder. I actually watched a pretty cool documentary about them filming that. It was really neat to see.
Fox did that. It was really good. But
yeah,
my concern is, I'm assuming this car is going to start from the pit lane. I cannot see them trying to make Brad Pitt do a standing start. Unless they're going to put him like 15 grid slots behind everybody else.
You would have to, because if he balls in and then turn one and collects a few cars, that's not going to be a good look.
No, it's not.
I wonder if they send him out on. I wonder if he starts from inside the pit, like in the garage, and they give the rest of the field like 10 seconds.
Yeah. You've got to create a gap so that car isn't in the way.
Yes. I feel like if they gave it 30 seconds, about half a track, I think they could probably do, probably quite a bit of filming without anybody around.
Yeah. I just hope that filming doesn't require them to be near cars, because if it does, I have a bad feeling.
I'll be interested to see the sponsors on it.
Yes.
Like, I want to see the livery. I'm really interested in that.
I mean, they're all going to be fake, but...
Well, yeah, but I wonder if it's going to be fake companies or real companies.
Ooh, that is a good question.
And I just want to see, like, what does Hollywood do with a car? What do they design? I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not excited for it to be there. I'd be cool if they sent it out like in FP1 or something.
That's what I was thinking they would do. But
yeah, I would rather them send it out in practice and do the filming then. But the problem is with Formula One, with how the championship runs, it's a lot tighter than NASCAR when you're doing it at the first race. And they just ran in a pack with each other and ran out the racing line. Like, there's an issue where you could cause a wreck that affects the championship.
I think
these are also expensive cars.
I think I might have just kind of thought of something, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we're going to get 2 formation laps.
Would make sense.
I wonder if they're going to line that car up in the middle of the pack, right? Do formation lap 1 wherever they want that car, whatever grid box, right? Whether it's pole, third, doesn't matter. And then just so that they can get Brad Pitt's action shots, like him getting in the car in the middle of the grid and then moving, you know what I mean? And going on the formation lap. And then after that, so they'd go off on their formation lap, the second one, Pitt would pull into the pits, and then the other guys would line up where they're supposed to. I wonder if that's what's going to happen.
I hope so. I really have a bad feeling on how they're going to do this.
I wonder why they picked Silverstone.
It's probably going to be important to the movie somehow.
Yeah. We don't even really know anything about this movie, right?
No, I haven't heard anything about it. I think Lewis Hamilton has something to do with it.
So I think what we see out of that car, I think the livery is going to tell us everything.
Yes.
Is this a real story, or is it completely fictional? My guess is completely fictional.
I'm also thinking fictional. But
I'm thinking injury to a primary driver, and they call the old guy, Brad Pitt, to come in and fill in the rest of the season, and he wins the championship in the last race.
Mm-hmm.
His first race is Silverstone.
Yeah. As long as it's not like the Driven movie, I think we'll be good. So let's get into Brad, or not Brad.
Now we can move on to NASCAR.
Yeah, let's talk about Ross. Martin Truex Jr. picks up yet another Monday win in Dover after the rain comes through, which I wish this race was still in the summer, but that wouldn't stop the rain, to be honest. In fact, it probably makes it worse with how the storms get around here. But the main issue, 83 laps in, Ross Chastain is behind Brennan Poole and Kyle Larson. Going into turn 1...
He's in front of Larson.
Yeah. Or sorry, but
Larson is making the move around the outside of Poole.
Yeah. So Larson's going around Poole. Chastain goes into turn 1, pushes Poole out the way, and basically turns him into a bowling ball. And Poole goes up the track, spinning, hits Kyle Larson, takes Larson out the race. Now that is going to come into play later because Larson, with a damaged car, gets in the way of Chastain as he's chasing down Truex. And
holds him up for 2 laps.
Yep.
Which is what Truex needed.
Yep. Holds him up just enough for Truex to get the win. But Ross Chastain, at this point, I think last year we all liked him. This year, it's too much. Every week, there's a Ross Chastain thing.
And, so did you listen to Actions Detrimental, Daryl?
Yeah, I saw I've seen the situation and what Denny said, and basically, you can't deal with it the way they used to because they'll take your hard card now. Yeah. If there's a physical altercation. So they can't do what they used to do, which was go down and G-check him in front of everybody.
Yeah. So the notes that I took, these are what I took from Denny. So not all the accidents are his fault. Probably about half are, but his reputation precedes him.
Yep.
And Brennan Poole lifted. He checked up in front of Chastain at Dover.
Mm-hmm.
They say the fire don't lie, right? And if you look just before Chastain makes contact, you see that spark right out of the exhaust, so you know he lifted.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, you lift. Like this accident, probably not Ross's fault, probably, but we're done giving him the benefit of the doubt. Another thing that Denny said is whenever Ross is involved in these accidents where someone gets spinned, he's never on the wrong end. He just goes about his day, which that's true. Ross doesn't get turned, but he turns an awful lot of people. And so that incentivizes him to keep doing what he's doing because he doesn't lose. In fact, half the time he goes on and wins the race.
Somebody has got to take the L and clean him out.
I think there's only so much you can take. And one of these days, someone's going to do it. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Harvick on his last race just says, F it. I'm going to teach this kid a lesson. Especially if Chastain's in the championship 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's NASCAR going to do to Harvick?
What are you going to do? Suspend me?
Yeah. He should ask him to do it permanently.
Yeah. Here's my thing with Ross. He keeps driving into people. He keeps getting on the interviews and apologizing. The apology is hollow. Stop doing it.
Just own it. Own it.
Like, nobody cares about the apology at this point. The fake behind, I'm so sorry. Oh, those guys an apology. Shut the hell up. I don't want to. I don't want to hear it anymore. You're not that sorry because you keep freaking doing it.
I think it was Larson or Brennan Poole that said that.
Yeah.
I think they said that in their medical center interviews. I think it was Brennan Poole.
Mm-hmm.
Just somebody was, I think it was one of those guys, just mocking him. Like, oh yeah, can't wait to hear, oh, I'm real sorry, I got to get better, blah, 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 that's my fault. Yeah, Ross has used up every bit of goodwill he has, and now he's to the point where he's like the Kyle and Kurt Bushes in their villain stage.
Yep.
You either love Ross Chastain or you hate him, and there is no longer an in-between.
Do you remember the 2004 or NASCAR Thunder 2004 when they had the villain and hero system?
Yeah.
Everybody would just have a red chevron over them for Ross Chastain when the race starts. Yes. That's how many people he's pissed off.
Yeah. That actually leads me into Alex Bowman.
Yes, take us through what happened with Alex Bowman being on commentary on Twitter.
Yeah, I want to see him in the booth now.
Mm-hmm.
They brought Chase. Actually, Alex has been Twitter gold, like asking if he's going to get a commercial when he returns, which is fair, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so Alex is home with that fractured vertebra, so he's out, and so he was on Twitter watching the race, and right after the whole Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, Brennan Poole, he tweets out a Will Ferrell elf darn it gif, right? Mm-hmm. And the comment is 5 was a rocket, 1 doing 1 things. Gosh, I'm sure he didn't mean to. And some random Chastain fan hits him back with but the guy is beating you in every stat so far this season. Alex Bowman tweets back, average finish, pulls, and top tens must not be in this season's stat book for you, crying, laughing emoji. The Chastain fan writes back, oh, I was just looking at wins in capitals, stage wins in capitals, and points, the things that don't count. Didn't go to page 3 where it talks about polls. And Bowman writes back, gotcha. Didn't realize the one has won a race this year. Might change today, though. And that definitely implied that Chastain was taking out the competition.
Yeah.
And so that made me proud to be a Bowman fan. That whole interaction but I mean, if this is to the point where the driver's sentiment is literally where he tweets, gosh, I'm sure he didn't mean to, that's one doing one things is its own insult. And then, gosh, I'm sure he didn't mean to. That is like literally using someone's words against them.
Yes.
Like he insulted Chastain twice with one tweet.
Yeah. People keep saying the Hendrick Motorsports drivers have no personality. They obviously have not been paying attention to Alex Bowman.
Yeah.
Because he's the most lit out of all of them, to be honest. Larson kind of has to keep his head down because of obvious reasons we're not going to get into. And Chase and William are just Chase and William.
They're like vanilla pudding or vanilla ice cream. They're there, but there's no flavor.
Yeah. They're inoffensive. They're there. It's just they show up, they race, they win, and they go home.
Yeah. But Alex Bowman is like jalapeno ice cream. He's spicy as F.
There's the jalapeno ice cream.
No, but that's what his flavor would be, just because of how spicy he is.
Okay, you heard it here, folks. Somebody make jalapeno flavored ice cream.
I won't buy it. Oh, geez Louise, we forgot the biggest news of the week.
Yes,
Legacy Motor Club.
Legacy Motor Club is going to Toyota in 2024, which gives Toyota a third team, finally. But the most important part of that is Jimmy Johnson, noted 7-time champion in Chevys, gonna own Toyotas next year and drive Toyotas next year. That's gonna be weird.
And he didn't put out the statement that I thought he would
regarding
Chevy. He just said it's been nice. I thank them. Time to move on. It was a little.
It was a very
it
business
seems like there was
transaction.
no love lost.
It was a very business transaction-y
yes
type of deal.
Yes, there was no emotion in it at all.
And
However,
I guess
I did read though that he called Rick Hendrick before.
Yeah.
Before it broke, he called Rick and told him what was going on, which I thought was admirable. But NASCAR died with Dale. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think with Jimmy, he had his big goodbye a few years ago.
Yeah.
So I guess he's like, I really don't need to make this giant post because we already had the tearful, soulful goodbye.
Yeah, but my goodness, he could have done a little bit more.
Yeah.
All the
I don't know.
power to him.
Yep. So they're going to Kansas this weekend, and this is a race where Bubba Wallace has to make something happen. That team is in the same exact spot they've been the last 3 years. And whether it's because of the driver mistakes, team mistakes, whatever, and I kind of got into a fight on Twitter about this. It's kind of unacceptable to be here at this point when the other team that started with y'all not only had both cars make the playoffs, both cars are higher in points than you right now, and and your team car, the 45, already in the playoffs, and y'all aren't. And Reddick is better in every statistical category. That's not good for the flagship car. And I like Bubba, but something's going to have to change if you're telling me in 3 years, all he can do is 21st, 19th, 21st. That's not conducive to a winning car. Something's got to change. And if Booty's got to go, then Booty's got to go.
No comment from me.
Yeah, you're not going to hear any quarrel from me.
I mean, the big thing is that those cars have been really good at mile and a halves. And last year, 2311 whipped tail at this place. They're going to put on a great race, and I cannot wait to see what Bubba does. But Kansas was one of the best tracks for the next-gen car. Should put on another good race this year, despite what the negative Nancys might say. And it should be a fun weekend of racing. At least one of the races will be good this weekend, I think.
Never know.
Yep.
Probably one of them will be, but it won't be NASCAR.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. It'll be fun. So let's go ahead and get near.
No.
What's up?
We got to talk about why Landon Castle still has a Twitter account.
I forgot. You know what the funny part is?
What?
It's so forgettable. I forgot about that. That tells you everything we need to know about Landon Castle. But Landon decided to start the fight that I think we're all tired of having, which is what series has the best.
Notes.
Yeah. All right. We have a new notes page that
it'll disappear after today.
Yeah. Landon decided to get on Twitter today. Or not. It was during Dover, wasn't it?
4 days ago, so yeah.
Yeah, during the Dover race. NASCAR drivers are the most diverse professional racing drivers in the world. More services, racing styles, track types than any other series. F1 drivers are true specialists on singular style of racing. So this was during Baku. While a modern Cup Series driver must be a jack of all trades. Discuss. Landon, who asked you?
And who are you to make such commentary?
Yeah.
So someone said, what about IndyCar drivers? Or said, I'm making my case for IndyCar drivers. And Landon Castle wrote back, I would say IndyCar drivers are more versatile than F1 drivers, V8 supercars, rally, and probably most other forms of motorsports, but not more versatile than a Cup Series driver. Debating who is better or more not debating who is better or more talented or outstanding, just focused on versatility.
Can I say something about that real quick?
Yes.
I don't know. This is going to sound really stupid, but I should severely think he should look at an onboard of a World Rally Championship driver and tell me, can a Cup driver do that?
Yeah.
That is absolute. I've watched those onboards. Those guys are absolutely insane.
Well, somebody commented, Jimmy Johnson's considered one of the greatest of all time in NASCAR, and he couldn't do anything in IndyCar.
All right, to be fair, Jimmy was over 45 when he got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm the messenger, my friend.
I know, I'm just saying, but people keep talking about
Another
Jimmy not doing anything over there. It's like he was old. He was literally just doing it as a retirement gig.
another
Yeah.
comparison. Can you expect these guys to compete together in a 24-hour race
We're gonna find out.
with traffic? With traffic.
I mean, I think NASCAR drivers could do it.
I think they can too,
I
but it's
mean,
just
I
like
think I think endurance races are probably more suited to NASCAR drivers than kind of other series, just because they're used to the bigger vehicles, they're used to being in the cockpit, um, and the visibility, they're more used to the angles. Um, so I think endurance driving is more suited to a NASCAR driver than it would be to an IndyCar or basically anybody open wheel, really.
Mm-hmm.
maybe the sports cars like the GT3 cars, but I don't know about hypercars really.
But I feel like I'm sorry, but
The
I feel
IndyCar
like
one was I don't know about that one too.
I well, Scott McLaughlin took this personally,
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
and he has every right to. And it was to the point where Dale Jr. was in Scott McLaughlin's mentions, giving him ammunition against Landon Castle. Dale Jr. was literally sending McLaughlin tweets where Castle was saying other stupid stuff to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Dale freaking Jr. What does that tell you?
I mean, Landon Castle isn't even in a car this year.
Yeah.
His best points finish in Xfinity was 13th in a Colic car last year. Tells you everything you need to know about Landon Castle's driving career. I'm not going to get into his Cup Series career because he never really drove with anybody worth anything. So that wouldn't be
what
fair.
I'm gonna say is each series has its quirks and its talent
Mm-hmm.
needed to race in those series. So it's kind of hard to outright judge which series is better than the other one because it requires a different mentality to race in them.
Yep.
You know, I don't think a Formula One driver is going to go to WRC and win championships outright. I don't think a
But
WRC
I
champ
mean, we saw Kimmy
driver.
do it. He went over there and didn't really run that great.
Yeah, I don't think a WRC driver is going to come to Formula One and win championships. We almost had it with Sebastian Loeb, but he never
well,
got that
the
opportunity.
I think the thing that makes Formula One so unique compared to everybody else
Mm-hmm.
is just the amount of muscle mass you need in your neck.
Yeah, because the
Yeah,
G forces absolutely ruin you in those cars.
I don't think that I think that if you swapped seats, a NASCAR driver and a Formula One driver, let's just Esteban Ocon and Brad Keselowski, right? Because the Alpine guys were hanging out with RFK this week. That's why. So if you took Keselowski or Busher and
Mm-hmm.
said, "Hey, go run Formula One," and you took Esteban Ocon, said, "Go run NASCAR," I guarantee you, Ocon does better in NASCAR than any than any NASCAR does in Formula One. You put any NASCAR driver in Max Verstappen's car, and they score less championship points than Yuki Tsunoda.
ouch,
Guaranteed.
ouch.
I'm just saying they do not have I don't think a NASCAR driver has the body.
I don't think they have
to
the
run
physique
to run IndyCar or to run Formula One.
because
I
physique in F1 is like a whole different breed of racing, really.
Yep.
Like these guys have to train all the time in order to remain physically fit to drive a Formula One car. Like we saw it in there was a video that Matty he used to work at WTF1. He did a track day where he drove a Renault Formula One car back when it was still called Renault. And they showed him how much you have to train in order to drive a Formula One car. And the training part nearly broke him. So
Yep.
you
Yeah.
can imagine what these guys have to do on a regular basis.
Well, you see them all the time. They're always training their neck.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think that most NASCAR drivers could do parabolic of full speed.
I don't think they could do Cool at all or Radion.
Well, not in the Formula One car.
No.
No.
Like parabolic, obviously, long corner. But I don't think they could handle the G forces on your neck
No.
When I know
at full
another
speed.
corner that's actually very treacherous on your neck, turn 8 at Turkey.
Yeah, we don't go there anymore.
Yeah,
We
but just
should,
imagine
but
it.
that corner's crazy though.
Yeah.
Any corner at Spa,
Oh yeah.
literally any corner.
Yep. So I think the main thing here is just
Shut your mouth.
yeah, basically.
And respect the sports that these guys choose to race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Landon's was completely tone deaf.
Yes.
I think he was trying to just make himself relevant.
He didn't succeed. He did, but not in the right way.
Yeah. You know how some people just have those moments where it's just like, hey guys, I'm relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now
All
we
I
get
know
to,
is he better
ahead.
not show up to Miami this weekend.
I don't think he's going to show up to Miami this weekend. I don't
He's
know
gonna
what he's
show
doing
up and
this
see
weekend.
like, yeah, a NASCAR driver can do all these, can do all this.
Why don't you? He goes up to Zach Brown. Why don't you let me take a swing around that thing, huh?
Zach Brown's gonna look at him like he's crazy.
Now Zach Brown would be like, "You want a contract?"
Oh my god.
And with that,
But sir, I've never been in a Formula One car. Doesn't matter, son.
Become our third driver.
so we have nearest the win this week. Let's get ready to get out of here. There's a new leader at the top of the board. Taryn now has the lead with 242. Matt White 247. The people that actually host the show are third and fourth. Chris 256. Me 296.
Am I
Michael
still in
310.
last?
No,
Larry is now at 359.
Larry's isn't done. Oh yeah, his is.
Yeah.
Because
So
Larry didn't submit anything last week, so he took max points.
yeah, that hurt. So we go into this week.
Oh, I didn't. He didn't get max points for IndyCar. I didn't.
Mhm.
Michael's actually missing points in IndyCar too.
Yeah. So I'm taking Max Verstappen, and I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. I think Bubba Wallace gonna go back to back at Kansas.
Oof.
Chris, who you got?
I was gonna say, Michael, you go.
Okay.
Formula One. We're at Miami, right?
Yeah.
I have not voted for Perez yet, have I?
You have not. You've used Red Bull one time. You can only use them 3 times.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll just go Perez then. Um, NASCAR. I don't really know.
You picked Hamlin last week.
Okay. NASCAR. I guess I'll go Bell. And then what's the last one? IndyCar?
Well, there isn't one, but if you want to put your pick in for Indy Road Course, you can do that.
Way too early
Uh,
pick.
yeah, I'm not gonna
Well,
do that.
it's not like anything's happening between now and then anyway.
Well, I'm not gonna do that.
That's fine. So NASCAR, I'm going to go Willie B, and then sound the alarm because I am the first person of the season using their legally required McLaren pick.
Oof.
I
Wait, you
am.
have to legally use McLaren?
You have to use each team one time.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So far you've used Ferrari, Aston Martin, and 2 Red Bulls.
Oh, well,
So
I gotta save those for later then.
That's
which
why
is
I'm
fine.
saving mine.
Daryl hasn't even touched. This is the first time he's using one of what we called the big 3 from last year, which is Red Bull, Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari.
Yeah, I'll save the rest of those for
So
later.
so I'm taking Oscar Piastri, and I am hoping that this is a rainy event. And worst case scenario, I pick up 20 points, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Best case scenario, we finish up around 10th. But as far as McLaren, so yeah, I'm getting my McLaren bullet out of the way early. Daryl, you already used your Haas at Baku. Hulkenberg got you 17.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be a lot more passing.
Actually,
Apparently
can I change my
wrong.
pick real quick?
Yeah, what do you want to? Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Pierre Gasly.
I took Pierre Gasly last week, actually, and he actually got me 14. So that was a good shot in the dark last week.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Pierre Gasly.
Okay. Yeah, that works. Set you up with Alpine. So, alrighty, that's all we have picks for, and I'll have to get a hold of Matt, Taryn, and Larry, and yeah, so I'll update the thing.
So we'll get our picks. We'll put those out over the weekend. Good luck to everybody's picks out there, and hopefully we have some good racing this week, as we will have NASCAR and Formula One at a decent hour in America for one time for the first of a couple of races this season. But it will be fun. Again, Michael, good to have you on once again. Obviously, don't be a stranger. Michael is at Michael_War25. Chris is at Fiji Sims. I'm at DK Junior 12. Make sure you keep it locked to our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for IE Sports Radio. And also, make sure you watch the Twitter page and the IE Sports, or the Extra Mile TikTok as well. We got that fired up once again. If you missed any episode of any IE Sports Radio show, make sure you check that out anywhere where you can hear your podcast, and on YouTube as well, which has a repository of every episode we've ever done. And also check out the website. Got merch, rundowns on all our shows. That's a great place to find every episode of every esports radio show. But we're going to get ready to get out of here. Checkered flag is falling for this weekend. For Michael and Chris, I'm Daryl. This has been The Extra Mile, and we will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.